Still in search of a lifestyle, single piece of audio gear where all you need to do is pick a pair of speakers or even possibly a turntable and enjoy the music? Stay tuned. I have something for you to consider. Hi everyone, Mark from Audio Pursuit. Let's make the FCC happy first. I purchased the Eversolo Play. At no time have I consulted Eversolo about this review. My reviews are strictly subjective. But I'm sure over time there'll be plenty of other measurement videos and articles available. As we all know, the home stereo market has changed, split, shifted, whatever you want to call it, quite a bit in the past decade or two, starting with the rise of the iPod and headphone listening, and now to streaming. It's been a strange and yet exciting time for the industry. For a while, the old guard manufacturers were caught off balance, and new players emerged. Then the market seemed to stabilize, as everybody discovered that variety was still out there. Of the new guard, two companies have gathered a lot of attention in the past couple of years. One is WIM, that I previously reviewed both their amp and ultra units. Now I have the chance to review my first piece of Eversolo gear, the Play. The Play comes in two choices: the standard unit, which relies upon streaming or by adding an off-board piece such as an external CD player, or attaching to the built-in Phono preamp a turntable for vinyl enthusiasts. For approximately $100 more, they offer in a unit with a built-in CD player. Right here's the standard model, and true to Eversolo form, it has a beautiful shape, a 5.5-inch display that can be easily read, with the exception of very small print from my listening position, some 8 feet away. The unit, with its rounded sides but square overall aluminum case shape, is 9 by 9 by 3 inches, and it's heavier than you may think at 6.4 pounds. The front panel has just the 5.5-inch touchscreen and a knob that when you push it turns on power or off, as well as a volume control. When it comes to software, Eversolo deserves credit for diving deep and creating an overall, with one or two quibbles, a tremendous UI. The engineers took the Android system and, as the story goes, completely re-engineered it. Of course, upon opening the box, or even before, download the Eversolo app onto your phone or tablet. I will say that, unfortunately, my older iPad mini was not new enough to run the app, unlike for WIM software. Therefore, like most everybody else, I ran it from my phone. Like any piece of audio gear now, the Eversolo Play relies heavily on software on first power up. You will need to run an update. This took about 5 minutes or so. Just press the center of the button, and the Eversolo will go through its startup. As you notice, the ring can be changed to different colors. And since this does use the Android operating system, you get the same startup time as you would with your cell phone. All right, let's begin by going to the home. So, as you can see, this first one on the left is your music services. With a tremendous number of choices. Now, if you flick to the left, you get into your functions. You have a choice of the CD player, if one's built in. You can actually rip CDs. You can access your music files. Delve into the EQ, try out room correction, work with multiple Eversolo plays, and then transfer songs. Under the apps, you can see you have just a tremendous number that you can download from the various music services. I myself am a Qobuz user. You also have Tidal Connect, Rune Ready, which I use, Spotify Connect, AirPlay, DLNA, Qobuz Connect, which I haven't tried yet, but I'm going to after this review, and then Squeeze Connect. And there you see the 6 cloud services right now that are available. And then finally, you can delve into your settings. There's your source, choices, speaker output, coax output, USB DAC, and let's try and see the subwoofer. Now, you can turn it on or off. You can do the main port output bypass, subwoofer port bypass, as well as level cutoff point, subwoofer delay, and phase. Audio settings. Which you can access another way, of course. Your playback settings. So, your gain level. Do you want gapless playback? CD audio, autoplay. The point being that Eversolo has really thought through the various situations and settings that you may like to use in your own system. Now let's go into display. Okay, you can set up your knob for the coloring around it, your screen brightness, the theme, how you want it stacked. You want the album artwork on the left, followed by the song titles, or just the album artwork across, your screensaver, your VU meters. As you can see, you got plenty of choices. You got the Macintosh Blue. I call it the Pioneer Champagne Gold, which is my personal favorite. As well as almost a tachometer style. Spectrum Analyzer, which I'll show you in a minute, and that we'll have playing in the background for the rest of the video. You can look at your play details if you set that up. And then hide the navigation bar. And there's your volume level. Network settings, Wi-Fi, wired, Bluetooth transfer. I'm not a Bluetooth user, but let's face it, if you have guests come over, what's the easiest way for them to share some of their music at a low gathering? Bluetooth. Then you can get in your phone controls, your update, setup wizard, other settings, your language, your power mode, that sort of thing. And finally, about, which will tell you about display and some of the technical features. Now let's get back into the music. So we'll tap there, and we've got Norah Jones. And as you can see in the background, you get kind of this shadowy version of the Spectrum Analyzer. Now, if we want to see the Spectrum Analyzer, there you have it. And I'm personally a big fan of Spectrum Analyzers. It really helps you to understand what frequencies instruments and vocals are at, and how far up the sound spectrum we are collecting information. Now we'll go back here. Back to Norah again. There we go. Let's check out the VU meters. Okay, one of the tachometer designs. There you go, there's your Macintosh Blue. Kind of an industrial version. So there's a quick little tour of the interface. And of course, the same thing is shown on your phone or tablet. Okay, let's look at the rear panel of the Eversolo Play. We have a trigger, the ARC, which does allow you to work with volume control coming from your television. Optical in, we have coax in. Down below right here, that's our grounding for your phono, a line in left right, and the phono right left line in, the gigabyte LAN, 2 USB ports, one in, one out. The bottom one is for out, RCA out for a subwoofer, and then the coax out. And finally, in reality, a decent set of binding posts. Now, one thing I always check on units is if there is any give when you push in on the RCAs, and there is none. These are screwed in and mounted tightly. And that's really critical. A lot of very inexpensive audio equipment, lots of times you'll feel that give. And eventually, that's going to break and cause problems. But that's a look at the backside of the Eversolo Play. The Eversolo Play amplifier is rated at 60 watts per channel into 8 ohms or 110 watts into 4 ohms using Class D amplification. The software and other non-DAC processing, which I'll discuss later, is built around the ARM architecture chipset used in cell phones. If you're wondering, yes, the Play can be used as a preamp as long as you're running it out into a DAC. However, before doing this, make sure you go into your output volume settings, and this is where one of my few disappointments with the Play occurred. The terminology for adjustable volume control versus fixed is confusing and disappointing. The WIM software is very simple and straightforward in comparison. Therefore, make sure you've turned the volume down all the way to -100 dB or 0. But let's be honest. Chances are this will only be used by no more than a few percent of the total buyers of the Play as a preamp. Next comes the fun for those of you who like to shape your sound. You can either set the equalizer band yourself or run room correction. And this is where my second quibble, as I found the room correction software, once you get done with the measuring, wasn't clear compared to the WIM software. I highly suggest you take a look at this YouTube video starting at 4 minutes 45 seconds to get a much better grasp on how to use the settings. You can get everything set, but I just did not find it as convenient as the WIM software. Since the Play had been fully burned in, but not knowing how long it has been since it had been used, I let the unit run at a lower volume overnight. I did decide to challenge the Play right off the bat by hooking it up to the Buchart S400 Mark IIs. These are a 4 ohm speaker, and frankly, they take a little bit of juice to get them up and going. The Play did do a nice job, but not exceptional powering them. But I sincerely doubt that somebody is going to match up this pairing, as the S400s are designed to pair with truly audiophile gear. The Class D modules in the Play are really designed to work with 8 and 6 ohm nominal loads. So while the sound was nice, it wasn't engrossing by any means. But since I still have around the Buchart P300s from my last review, I swapped them in, and with their easier to drive, more aggressive, yet not as detailed or purely as deep bass, they were a better match with the play. Class D amplification overall pairs up nicely with the P300 speakers, as they are not overly sparkly or strident, so the mellow blends with the sharper upper frequencies. In other words, they balance each other out. Listening to Supertramp's Crime of the Century album, the dynamic swings are there, which allowed for a very nice listening experience. But in reality, the play will be paired with speakers realistically in the under 1,000 pair category, whether they be tower or stand mount. The Veri-fi Audio Scouts were a really nice pairing at $299 a pair, plus if you add in their Caldera subwoofer for $199, for $1,200 total, $699 for the play, they have a really nice setup for the lifestyle user. Just turn it on, select the music, and go. If you have a rec room and you've got teenagers, or even for a ball game or a movie, a simple 2.1 setup like this will bring you plenty of joy. Though I currently don't have a traditional floor standing speaker, I can imagine that a pair of ELAC Q acoustic mini towers would work quite nice. Spinning Hotel California, the Eagles classic was a fun turn back to my high school days. The same thing goes for Boston and their initial Powerhouse album. That was the choice of most everybody at my school as we left the parking lot each day. That brings us to the built-in DAC. In the case of the play, it uses the AK4493 SEQ DAC chip. Now the AKM chips have tagged themselves as having the Velvet Sound technology. Their claim is to lower the harmonic distortion and noise during signal processing. Now, since this is an onboard unit, only so much room and design at this price point can be given towards its overall performance with the whole DAC section once the decoding has occurred. But I will say that I didn't find it strident or uncomfortable in the least. A few times I did notice a bit too relaxed, lacking in the ability to pull out more inner detail. While the play can pull out DSD, PCM, or super fidelity files, in reality, I think we all know that it's going to be a standard 44.1 with the occasional forays up to 192 kHz. I stream via Qobuz directly or through Roon, and in both cases, I'm happy to report that the lag is less than the WIM software on my Ultra. My speculation is that the re-engineered Android software is the difference maker. Digging through the Alan Parsons Project collection, the light but effective bass punch in I Don't Want to Go Home, the channel separation is also spot on. The slight rounding of the vocal at the lead vocal's highest pitch to avoid any harshness gets my thumbs up. Although I will say that I did catch just a hint of edge when he goes absolutely full-throated, but still impressive for an onboard DAC. Switching recording methods altogether, the Cowboy Junkies Trinity Sessions album, which is considered a masterpiece of single mic recording, have a very smooth neutral sound with the play. The harmonica, which occasionally tests the range of microphones, is nicely placed and resolved in the song I Don't Get It. Moving to a recent recording, Billie Eilish's I Didn't Change My Number. The bass is nicely detailed with a level of low frequency dig that surprised me. The track Billy Bossa Nova, the effusiveness of her vocals, has some extra texture that I did not expect to hear at this price point. If you choose to add a turntable, chances are you're going to go with an cartridge, though MC is available through the software settings. The sky's the limit there, but as I always tell people, get a quality cartridge that doesn't break the bank, and there are plenty out there. Much like the WIM Ultra, the Phono section is converted into digital. Interestingly enough, the play shows it up as 192 kHz. The 80s regional rock band Shooting Stars' first album sounded a bit flat, But when I changed to Alex Degrassi's Clockwork, there was a definite spatial depth and a three-dimensionality. Credit to the Eversolo engineers for putting in the extra effort necessary to make this a realistic phono preamp rather than just a throw-in for sales. A good portion of my time listening to the play was with the Veri-fi audio scouts. It's hard for me to quantify how good these four pieces work together. The play drove the scouts easily, and the subwoofer control in the play software allowed for a really smooth crossover signal to the subwoofer via the sub out jack. The play does recommend that you set the software cutoff point or frequency at 10 to 20 hertz lower than what you have set on the subwoofer. I have the sub set at 80 and the software at 70. Listening to the Doobie Brothers' classic instrumental, upbeat, funky steamroller breakdown, the bass is perfectly integrated to the rest of the frequencies. For the younger crowd, going back to Billie Eilish, they will have no problem appreciating the electronic bass that is a big undercurrent in many of her tracks. As mentioned, the play puts out 60 watts per channel into 8 ohms or 110 into 4 ohms. But in all fairness, I call this a light measurement. Why? Simply put, the current capability of the play is not at the same level of a separate power amplifier, like this Galleon TSA 75. That's not its role. This is a lifestyle unit. Therefore, it is designed to be a part of the environment rather than the main item in it. My big puzzlement with the Eversolo play is the lack of headphone jack. The play's target buyer pool includes younger demographic groups who are currently using headphones. The play is a desktop size, making it a perfect choice for the head DAC amp usage. I hope then the second iteration, Eversolo, adds this feature, as our hobby needs to grow and the play has the capability to become that bridge device. The more and more I listened to the Eversolo play, the more infatuated I became with this unit. Like all integrated amplifiers, the fewer the chords, the better things seem to be. The play is built to last from everything I could see. The case and various jacks are solidly secured. The knob has a very nice textural feel to it, and it sounds just like it will last a long time. Most importantly, it offers the owner the opportunity to listen to both analog and digital streams with a Class D amplifier powerful enough to handle typical inexpensive stand mount or floor standing speakers. If the Eversolo play had a headphone jack, it would hit the absolute center of the bullseye. But still, the Eversolo play is a big win for lifestyle home audio customers. Therefore, in my estimation, as a teacher, the play deserves an A-. Thanks for watching, everybody. In these chaotic times, stop the doom scrolling, put on some music, and just enjoy. Take care, everybody.